Everybody, it's Graysen from Moo NJ. Today, I'm going to be talking about my theories for episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. Episode 4 left us off with a pretty big cliffhanger. It was that Boba Fett and Fennec Shand are going to war with the Pike Syndicate, and they need to hire somebody to help them, to be their muscle. They don't really have any. Boba Fett's old, and they don't really have much muscle. So here's where my theories come in. Who are they gonna hire? What many people are they gonna hire to help them in their war with the Pike Syndicate? So I'm gonna go from who I think is least likely for them to hire, but still a possibility, to who I think is most likely that we're probably gonna end up seeing in episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. So first person I think could be in it, but it's the least likely. Mainly because technically she's dead, but we have Aura Singh. So, Aura Singh is a super awesome and powerful bounty hunter that we see a lot of in the Clone Wars, and we even see her in Phantom Menace during the pod race. But she was said to have been dead. In a throwaway line in Solo movie, Tobias Beckett and Lando Calrissian were talking about how Tobias Beckett pushed her off a cliff and she died. I doubt a bounty hunter as skilled and powerful as Aura Singh actually died from that, and she worked super closely with Boba Fett as like his parental guardian after Jango Fett died in the Clone Wars. But still unlikely she'll be in it, just because, to our current knowledge, she is technically dead. So it's unlikely we'll see her, but we never know. Next up, the next person I think that could possibly be in it that they could hire is Dengar. He is a really cool bounty hunter. We don't really see him too much in many things, but what we have seen him in is pretty cool. He was a lot in the Clone Wars TV show, and he made an appearance in Empire Strikes Back. He worked closely with Boba Fett on a mission in the Clone Wars show. Him and Bosk and a few others needed to secure a package on a train, and it was really awesome and really awesome episode. And Dengar was a super skilled bounty hunter there, but the biggest problem is that he would be really old at this point, so it's unlikely we'll see him for that reason, and he's also a much smaller character. And since we mentioned Bosk, why don't we move on to the next person I think that could show up? And yes, that is Bosk. Bosk is a Trandoshan. That's his species, so he can live a pretty long life, and he's a really good bounty hunter, and he was trained in the hunt, as we saw in the Clone Wars. So I don't think it's whether he's alive or not, but it's whether he'll actually be used. As cool as I personally think he is, I'm not really sure people would be too happy to see him instead of some other people that they'd really like. So, now on to my last one, who I think is most likely to appear in episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. I think he will. And he'll help Boba Fett and Fennec Shand against the Pike Syndicates, and it'd be so cool. He's legendary, he's powerful, he's blue, and he's Cad Bane. It would be so cool to see him in live action in episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett. And it's really likely too. He fought Fennec Shand in Book of Boba. Not in Book of Boba Fett, in the Bad Batch. Maybe they exchanged numbers as they were trying to kill each other. I don't know. But it would actually make sense if they recruited him, because Fennec Shand kind of knows who he is from fighting him, and he's super legendary, so it would make sense if out of everyone they recruited him specifically. So, and not only that, people would love it. The views for Book of Boba Fett would skyrocket if we saw Cad Bane in live action. But I don't know. And maybe every single person on my list will be recruited, and it'll be an entire team of all of my theory characters. But now, I'm gonna say some honorable mentions. I think would be super cool if we see them. Highly unlikely. So, for our honorable mentions, here they are. So, we have the Bad Batch. They had dealings with Fennec Shand in that show, and Wrecker's definitely the muscle that they were saying they needed, but it really wouldn't make too much sense if they were recruited, but they also have a season 2 planned for Bad Batch, which might make things a bit strange. But next up, we got Hondo Ondaka. I would love to see him. But the biggest problem is that during the Clone Wars, I'm not gonna say he's old, but he's definitely not young. He's probably more towards the older side, and that's in the Clone Wars. All the way past the Empire's fall, highly unlikely he'll still be alive. Maybe we'll see his whole pirate gang and everything, and we won't see him, but I don't know. Finally, the person I want to see most in the show, more than Cad Bane, but pretty unlikely, is my second favorite bounty hunter, maybe even first, is Embo, and maybe even his dog, Marok. He is super cool. The biggest problem with him is that it might be really cheesy if he's in it, because his hat is like a surfboard and a frisbee, and it might be really cheesy seeing him in live action, since we've only seen him in the Clone Wars show. And I feel like if we get just him, people will be angry, a lot sadder if we get him instead of someone like Cad Bane or Bosk or someone like that. But I think it'd be really cool to see all of these guys, especially Embo and Cad Bane, Bosk, all of them. So, if you guys haven't already, go watch the Book of Boba Fett. Episode 5 is about to get absolutely crazy. And then let me know in the comments what your theories are of who might show up in episode 5 and who they might recruit to help them in their war against the Pike Syndicate. I'm really excited, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.